What's going on, guys? Welcome to this video in which I'm going to show you how we scale Google's ad account for supplement brand, right? So the goal of this video is to show you the different campaigns that we build within the Google's ad account, the different audiences that we use, the different keywords that we use, the different ads that we use, and just a whole host of things that ultimately help scale supplements brand. Because I mean, if you run a supplement brand, if you're owner of the supplement brand, you have to understand like it's a very, very competitive space, right? And yet we're still able to successfully scale the supplement brands that we work with because of the proprietary strategy that we use, right? So stick around to the end of this video. I will show you again the different strategies, the different campaigns that we build, and ultimately we'll also look at the website of some of the supplement brands that we work with and show you specifically what makes them successful. All right, so buckle up, grab a cup of coffee, grab an energy drink, whatever you need to stay focused in this video. And yeah, let's get into it. So what I will do is share my screen with you, right? So we're gonna look into a Google's ad account of a supplement brands that we manage, right? And as I said, we're gonna go through the different campaigns that we built and how we built those different campaigns, the different audiences signals that we're using, how much we're spending on the specific campaigns, and then we'll also look at the ads of the specific campaign, right? So first of all, looking at this, so month to date, as from the 1st to the 18th, so you can see that we spent around $7,776 in this specific account. That's the cost. And then if you care about impressions and things like that, here's the impression as well. Which is 783,132, right? And then really the main thing that I want to look at is really the return on ad spend and the CPC as well, and the overall conversion that we accumulate in the specific brand. So return on ad spend is at $223, right? Boom. First thing that tells me, yeah, the ad account is profitable. As with supplement brands, there's a host of things that you have to consider in regards to like your margin and what you break even ROAS, right? And the thing with ROAS too, a lot of brands are subscription based, right? Because if somebody's purchasing supplements from you one time, if the product is good, they're gonna come back for you to purchase a second time and the third time and the fourth time, right? And typically brands are okay with losing money on the front end. We're not, right? We wanna make it profitable. We want the account and the business to be profitable on the first acquisition, on the first customer that we generate. We want that acquisition to be profitable, right? And so understanding the margins of the business, so we set up the account in that specific way, right? And again, it's not wrong to wait on the second order when an individual comes back looking at that lifetime value to be profitable. Like there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's just, wouldn't you rather to be profitable on the front end, right? And so those are some of the things that we consider when we're setting up the ad account, right? What is the margin of the business? What is the break-even ROAS, et cetera, right? So just looking at overall how many conversions we've generated from this specific account, which is 418 conversions from this specific brand, right? That's a shitload of conversion, excuse the language, excuse my French, right? And when we look at the cost per conversion, which is $18 across the account, $18.90, right? One thing I'll tell you is that these campaigns have been running successfully for a long time, so we have a lot of data. In addition to the brand is a very prominent brand, it's a relatively well-known brand, right? And so it just kind of makes it easier to essentially just capture the demand that's already been generated for the specific brand. Obviously, of course, working on new acquisition as well, right? So how much we spend on a daily basis is $430, right? So the first thing that you want to do when building a Performance Max, when setting up your Google's ad account, what are the campaigns that you need? Number one, you need a branded campaign. A branded campaign is essentially, as a sound, a branded campaign. So it's keywords focused around your brand, right? Keywords focused around your brand. So what are the different keywords that people will be searching for you on Google trying to find you? So if you sell different type of supplements category, right? Different type of supplements, category essentially, right? So people would, for example, I'll make up a name over here. People will go on Google and type in Sloopers protein powder, right? That's a branded keyword, right? Or just Slooper, for example. That's people are searching up that specific keyword because they know that you have supplements, right? And how people even know to search that is that you've been doing other form of advertising, such as like paid social or CTV or other form of advertising that is drawing brand awareness to the specific brand. And so people already know to go on Google and search up for your specific brand through these other advertising avenue, right? All right. So that's how the branded campaign works. Now, of course, within acquisition campaigns that we set up, which is the Performance Max, right? So we'll talk a little bit about Performance Max in just a little bit, but the main thing you have to understand is that when you're launching, when you're on Google and when you're on Google, and if you're a supplement brand and you're on Google, you're trying to get essentially your products to be on the shopping feeds, right? Meaning you're gonna need to set up a Google Merchant Center, right? Account, meaning essentially it's the feed, it's how Google feeds the product catalog into the Google Ad account. Right? And so when you set up a merchant center, this is connected through your Shopify. If you use Shopify, if you use other platforms, so I mean, you just have to find out the way to connect it. But with Shopify, it's pretty seamless, right? It's very easy. It's like 1, 2, 3, right? So you have to set that up. And so Google draws from your Google Merchant Center, which Merchant Center draws from your Shopify catalog, product SKUs, and then essentially just uses that to run on Google Ad, right? So when you go on Google and you type in, protein powders for beginners, or, creatine, or what's the best type of creatine, buy creatine now, or pre-workout, right? So all these different type of things, the main goal is you want your ad to appear when people are searching up for those specific keywords, right? So for example, let me go on Google over here and show you pre-workout for beginners. Boom. These are actual keywords that people are searching up, right? And so, boom, as you see over here, these are all the different brands and products that show up, right? And the goal is you want one of your brands to be one of these ones over here that show up, right? And so the thing is, it's very competitive on Google, right? It is a very competitive. So like the strategy that you deploy in the account, it just has to be sound. Right, so when somebody's searching up for pre-workout for beginners, like they have a whole list of things to search from, right? One of the things they're going to consider is the price, right? Out of all of this, which one is the cheapest, right? I believe is this one over here, which costs $19.99, right? And the next thing that they look at is the reviews. Which one has the most reviews? It's this brand over here, but the most expensive, or one of the most expensive, right? So those are some of the things that they look at. Obviously, people are going to click through and see what kind of makes sense for them, right? But essentially, these are where your ads are going to be showing up, right? When you set up Performance Max, and we're going to talk about the other places that your ads are also going to show up. But this is where most of your revenue is going to come from, right? So it's very important that when this is all set up, meaning that when this is all set up, you have good images that you're using for your products, right? You have clean and good images, because images is what people are attracted to, right? I presume that these images could be a lot better, right? A lot of these images could be a lot better, right? And in addition to that, it's just the name, right? The headlines for the product itself, right? So you want to make your headline as descriptive as possible, right? Because that's how Google draws, right? That's how Google knows to put your ad in front of an individual, right? Because it draws and takes specifically keywords from the headlines of the specific products, right? Because the Performance Max, unless you're doing a search campaign, Performance Max doesn't use any keyword. Again, it draws keywords from the specific product headlines, right? Or titles, as you see over here, right? So that's a very important thing to say. Now, let's go back to the ad account. So we'll look at the Performance Max campaign. So the Performance Max campaign includes all of Google's inventory. Performance Max is a relatively new product, right? And so when you deploy a Performance Max campaign, Google will show your ad across all of its inventory. So it's going to show your ads on YouTube, right? It's going to show your ad on Gmail. It's going to show your ad on the display network, on the discovery network, as well on the search, right? It's going to display your ad everywhere, right? It's a good thing because it allows more visibility of your products, of your brand, right? And it works very well. But dominantly, a lot of that spend is going to go on the shopping space where people can see a specific product SKUs, and as we just seen over here, right? So let's just look at the way that we set up the specific campaign. Because they don't have a whole lot of different product SKUs, so we kind of lumped everything within essentially one listing or one catalog, right? So what I'll do here is we'll look at the audience signals which we're using, and then we'll also look at the specific ad, right, or how we set up the specific ad. And a lot of this is going to be why this campaign is successful. But before we do that, the first thing I want to mention is that as you see YouTube over here, so this is where all your ads is going to be displayed within the Performance Max campaign, right? So as you can see some of the products over here, right? So this is on YouTube, right? So this is where those products are going to be displayed. And on Gmail, this is where those products are also going to be displayed on Gmail, right? I guess you can't see this one, and then when we go on search, this is where those products are going to be displayed. And then on the display network, this is how and where those products are going to be displayed. And then finally on the discovery, this is where those products are going to be displayed, right? And you can just see like the ad copy. You have multiple headlines that we're using in here. And so Google will rotate, when it's displaying the ads, it's going to rotate and use some of the headlines, some of the description, that long headline over here, some of the description. So it's very important that you fill and give as much information as possible to Google. And that's what makes a very successful ad, right? Because a lot of people sometimes they get lazy and then they'll just put like 3 or 4 headlines or 5 headlines, and they get very lazy and they just have a few long headline or just a few description. Like you have to understand that like Google is a very competitive space, and to take the advantage and to have a leg up over the competitor is to have as much information about your product as possible, and just to make it as enticing and as juicy as possible, right? As you've seen over here, we literally filled out the whole description. We have all the long headlines. We filled out to the max, and then all the headlines as well. We have 15 different headlines that we can rotate from, right? And so Google, what it would do is it would essentially use one of the headlines and essentially like find an individual that has the highest propensity of purchasing based upon their awareness level, right? Meaning maybe Google knows everything. Like Google knows everything. Google knows that you've been searching for products for supplements in the past. Google knows that you've been watching certain YouTube videos about specific supplements, right? So it uses all this information to try and target you, right? I hope that makes sense. Okay. The next thing is that you have up to 20 images that you can upload on Google. So these are the images that are displayed on YouTube, on Gmail, on the search, display, and the discovery network. You have up to 20. We've used 15 over here just because the brand was kind of limited on the different assets essentially. So we have 15 of you, but it's still very successful as you guys already seen. And then you can also add up to 5 different videos. And this is going to be displayed on YouTube as well as the display network, and amongst other category. Amongst other inventory that Google holds or Google owns, right? Guys, I hope this is making sense so far. And finally, you just want to make sure you have site link extension, right? So site link extension is essentially, when you on the SERP. When an ad is displayed, it has different links in which you can click on, which just kind of gives you more information about the brand, such as like About Us or Shop Now or discounts or promotion or just features about the brand, different places of the website where you can send traffic to, right? So just make sure to have that. So let's go back, right? Let's go back, and then we will look at a different Performance Max campaign that we have running. So as you can see with this one, this one is based around like the specific product, which is CMOS, right? And so the next thing that we'll do here, so we looked already how the ad is shown, right? Now let's look at the audience signals that we're using in this specific campaign, right? Boom. As you can see in the search theme, this is relatively new. You want to include as much keywords in here, again, just to further guide the campaign in what direction or the type of people to target, right? Not that it's going to target people that are searching for CMOS supplements or anything like that, right? But it's going to use this data to further pinpoint and target specific user who has the highest inclination of buying and purchasing your product, right? So you see that we have a host of different, we have up to 19 different keywords that we're using, right? So that's a very important piece. Now let's look at the audience that we're essentially using for this specific account. Boom. One of the most important things, you need to have your own data. You need to have data. Google needs to have data of who your customers are. Google needs to know the people that are interested in your product, the people who have already purchased from you, right? And you do that by providing Google with data, with existing data, meaning you can provide a customer list of all the customers who's purchased from you in the past. Boom, that's probably one of the most valuable things that you can use. And as well as you use Google Analytics data, such as like all the people who's ever purchased from you, right? You can also add such as like people who's abandoned the cart but never purchased from you. And just the more data that you provide Google, the easier the campaign is going to be the easier it's going to be for Google to find your ideal customers, right? And then, so this is your own data that you provide Google, as I just mentioned. And then you can also target interests based upon interest details and demographic, right? So we're targeting people that are in sports, in the market for like sports or equipments or anything of that sorts, right? Even beauty and personal care, we're also targeting that, right? So this is people that are in the market for this specific product. And then we also have that stacked with affinity. Affinity is more like more general interest audiences, right? People who are interested in health and fitness, and people who are interested in sports and fitness, people who are interested in beauty and wellness, right? All those different type of things, right? And then you also have like a custom interest, right? Which is interest and which is health interest essentially, and people interested in CMOS, right? So that's the stack, and obviously on top of that, you can also get into the demographic and target specific gender, specific age, and then you can also target according to specific household income and things of that essence, right? So this is how we set up the specific account, right? And that's what contributes to the success of this specific campaign. So hopefully that makes sense. And I'm gonna cancel this. And the next thing that I wanna do is, okay, so let's look at this website for this brand, right? The next thing that you'll notice is like they have a very clean website. It is very clean, nice and clean, right? As you see above the fold, so they have very displayed, very visual images of what the product is, right? And if you see the headline, if you see what the title is, they say it's the last supplement you'll ever need. That's a very enticing title, right? And as you go below the fold, and then they have the different products that they have, right? They have the different products that they have, and then which is the best sellers, right? So if you're somebody who like, I don't know what I want, right? So the first thing that you want to look is, okay, what are people already purchasing, right? And so they have that displayed over here. So you're more inclined to purchase one of this rather than like any other products that they have, right? And then below that, they also have like different attributes, right? Such as the products or the ingredients here support your immune system, your hair, your digestive health, release stress, right? And hormonal imbalances. Other benefits, right? I'm very impressed with just how they laid out the website over here, right? And after that, they just give you like the whole process, right? Just kind of more information about the brand, about the company. And on top of that, they have testimonials. The only thing that I'll do is like, I'll put those testimonials more like higher up with the fold. So like right below where it says like best sellers, right? So that's where I would put that, right? So it has like a bunch of testimonials from other people who have used the specific brands, right? 5-star, 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 right? And so again, that's what makes this brand like successful, right? That's what makes that account really successful, guys. So I hope you guys can kind of take from this and use some of the strategies, like the campaigns that I've walked you through, right? Use some of that strategies to implement within your own ad accounts from like the different campaigns that you'll be setting, which is the Performance Max. Obviously, you want to set up a branded campaign, and if you have more budget, then you can set up a non-branded search campaign, which is specific keywords for products that specific keywords of products that you want to go after. For example, if this is a CMOS, right? You want to bid for CMOS, for keywords related to CMOS, right? So that's another strategy you can do, but you have to know like that's very expensive. And so if you don't have the budget, I would start with the Performance Max campaign. Okay, guys. Again, I hope this video was valuable to you. I hope you can get some insight and use some of the strategies that I shared in here to essentially build out your own campaign and essentially just start kind of seeing some of the results that we've seen over here in this specific account. Guys, if you found this video helpful, like, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below, and I will be more than happy to answer. All right, guys, be well, and I'll talk to you guys soon.